Welcome to the Livfiit Listens podcast, a safe space of growth, personal development, and overall wellness with your host, Olivia Catania. Diving into the realms of all things health, conscious living, mental expansion, and much more, this podcast is designed to help you evolve into your best self and live fit. Let's get into the show. Hello, my lovely humans. Welcome back to the Livfiit Listens podcast. Today, we're on episode 39. First thing I want to tell you guys, because it's not like, it just was so interesting to me and just so cool to see. But today, I got an Instagram DM, clicked her opened her up, and guess freaking what? There's literally a university in Germany that posted, but it wasn't just me, like there's other podcasts, but essentially Livfiit Listens was posted on a university's Instagram page in their university in Germany. And like, I just think that's so cool. I feel like I just went about saying that really weirdly, but you get the gist. Like it was like a post that they made, and it was like, I forget what the university is called already, but they're like so-and-so's students, I almost said patients, students podcast recommendations. And like Livfiit Listens was on there, and it's a university in Germany. Like, I just think that is so cool. Like, I know we have listeners from all around the world and just Livfiit, like community members from all around the world, but like, that's just insane. Like literally, like it was like so-and-so's university students podcast recommendations, Livfiit Listens by Olivia Catania. And I clicked on it, and it was like a university in Germany, like blowing my mind. Also, there was like Emma Chamberlain's podcast and Joe Rogan's podcast on there. Not that we're like on that same level right now, but like it's just so fascinating to me. And like that was just really cool. So that was a great little motivational kickstart the day. I love that I saw that the day that I'm recording this podcast. But I just thought that was sick. And like props to the Livfiit community that we're just freaking just expanding like this and like reaching, you know what I mean? Like we've just, borders don't mean nothing on us. I just love that we're able to expand like within different countries, and that you guys are just absolutely killing it with just recommending this podcast and helping it reach more people. I just love it. And I just want to say thank you. And like, I just think that's so freaking sick. But anyways, my gratitude for today is mindful practices, because let me tell you something. I had such a lovely morning routine today, and I just am like, if I didn't discover these, I don't know where I would be mentally fit. Like, I don't know where I would be anywhere in my life, because these are such a backbone of my life now. And when I say mindful practices, I'm referring to all the good stuff: meditation, mindful movement, or like yoga, breath work, journaling. And meditation has been something I've been genuinely very, very consistent with since coming back from Hawaii. Like, that's what basically got me out of that slump that I was in when I first got home, which I told you guys about. And just like meditating outside most mornings. I don't want to say like I do it every single day, because obviously I'm human, but like at least like 5 days a week I'm out there meditating, and it has been so transformative. And just this morning I meditated, I did some mindful movement, like with just a 10-minute yoga flow stretch situation. Had an amazing journaling session. I honestly haven't journaled in a while because I've been meditating so often, and I've been trying to like actually shorten my morning routine so I can be more productive during the day and like start my day instead of having like an hour or two morning routine. It just like wasn't realistic for me anymore. But it felt nice just to dump everything on paper, and like I just felt so aligned, because I've been having like ups and downs, I guess, throughout this whole summer. Like sometimes I feel really good and super aligned and like super clear on my vision, and then some days I feel very confused, very lost, very like kind of in the dark, shaded, not feeling my best, so it's kind of been, a little bit up and down, but these practices have helped me so much stay, as close to my true self as I can, and just as connected and tapped in as I can. So I just am super thankful for them. And if you haven't gotten into them, this is your sign. There's no rules to any of them. It's just do whatever you feel. It's completely just a flow. And that's why I love them. And the more that you do them, the more you will find your flow effortlessly. And I'm telling you, you will feel the difference within you and just like the benefits and stuff like that, like way faster than you think. And I'm just so thankful for them. Next thing, I have a mini announcement, which I feel like I should have said this before gratitude, but I guess I just got away from myself. But I launched 2 little digital products. Now, if you watch my YouTube videos, you've already heard this. If you're on my Instagram, you've already heard this. But in case you missed it, I essentially launched these 2 little digital products that have to do with affirmations because I always get asked about how I come up with my affirmations and just like tips for how to come up with them. And I wish I had like tangible tips. I mean, I guess I kind of do, but at the end of the day, like they just come from within me. And I know that sounds cheesy, but it's like asking like how a painter paints. Like it's like it just, you know what I mean? It's not like I followed a math equation and that's how I did it. It's like it just comes to me. It's my creativity, so it's hard for me to explain. And like a lot of the times they'll just like come to me in meditation. When I'm just like meditating, I'll have a mantra like come into my mind, stuff like that. So it's not always something I guess I can teach, I guess, if you will. So nevertheless, I just thought it would be helpful to give you guys like an accumulated resource and kind of like an affirmations library, if you will, to be able to reference and use. And I feel like this is going to be most relevant to my podcast listeners because you guys know how big we are on affirmations. We always end every episode with them, and they have been such a transformative part of my life and, you know, embodying the person that I want to be. They've helped me tremendously when I'm going through cycles of healing, like tremendously. Like when I'm really down bad, I am on my affirmations like there's no tomorrow. Like that is borderline the thing that saves me and pulls me out of those you know, really dark times. But so essentially I just kind of wanted to put them all together. They're all obviously my complete original affirmations that I've used throughout my journey to grow as a person, to get to where I am today, to heal from those hard times. So essentially I've split them up into 4 different categories. So the first digital product, it's simply just affirmation sheets, and there's 4 different sheets with 10 different affirmations on each of them, each within a different intention or like category. So I have one sheet all about stepping into your power, another one on embodying your best self, another sheet on working through a hard time, or if you're going through a hard time, and another one for easing an anxious mind. So to help you like just with trusting more and with people who are suffering from anxiety and just anxious thoughts. And so you could use these sheets. You could either just like print them out if you want and hang them up in your room somewhere that you see them every day to remind you. You could use them as like a script in the morning. You guys know I'm a huge advocate for saying your affirmations aloud. So I guess whether you like to do that in the morning or nighttime, you can just read off these sheets depending on what you're needing to hear. So you don't really need to think about your affirmations or struggle to come up with them on your own. You can just read them right through. You can pull them up on your laptop or your iPad and just read through them when you're needing to realign, like during the workday. Whatever the case would be, you can sit with them. You can meditate on them. I guess metaphorically, you can sit with them. You can journal with them, right? So literally the options are endless, but I just wanted to make like a resource for you guys to reference when you're needing affirmations, just to help give you whatever you're needing to hear. So that's the first product. Then I kind of had the idea to take that one step further, which I love and think are so freaking cute. I then made little affirmations wallpapers, which I've been using on my phone for a bit now. And essentially I took an affirmation from each one of those 4 categories on each of those 4 sheets and made it into the cutest little iPhone wallpaper ever. So like for the stepping into your power one, that's my favorite wallpaper that I made. I took an affirmations from that and then just made a really cute, completely original and unique design for an iPhone background, just in case it's not clear, because there's so many creators that will just copy things. I made all of this completely from scratch. I didn't use templates for anything. I didn't steal affirmations from anything or anyone. Like this was all just coming from me, my own creative designs, everything are my own. And then each iPhone wallpaper kind of corresponds to a different chakra color. So if you aren't familiar, chakras, I feel like I've kind of touched on them maybe here and there, but they're just 7 energy centers that we have within our body, and it's really important to make sure that each one is very open and clear to help us just vibrate at our best and function at our best. So there's a color that corresponds with each chakra, which is what I incorporated into each iPhone background. So for example, continuing with that stepping into your power example, I corresponded that with the solar plexus, which is a chakra kind of up in your stomach, I guess, for example, or like right underneath your rib cage. And that is all about cultivating confidence and things like that. So, and that color is yellow. So I made that iPhone background yellow. I did another one that's all about healing. That's another iPhone background. That one I made the color green just because that's your heart space. Your higher self one, the ones embodying your best self, that one I made purple because that's in our crown chakra. Your higher self, which is at the very top of your head, that is purple. That represents that chakra. So very intentional. I don't even want to admit how long it took me to make these things because they're not like super extensive, but I just put a lot of time, effort, and detail into whatever I do. And so yeah, that's why these have taken me a little bit, but I'm super excited about them. And we're always on our phones, like way more than we'd like to admit. So I just am really stoked to have something to help make your guys' phone a just more uplifting and inspiring place to be, and just remind you of your subconscious, honestly, every time you pick up your phone, of just a really empowering affirmation. So I love them. They really changed the game for me. And if you're interested, I'll have my Stan store linked in the show notes. It's super easy checkout process, and you can put them on there. And for this week only, specifically for my podcast listeners, I'm going to give you guys an active discount code. I didn't share this on YouTube. I didn't share this on my Instagram, but you guys can use code BUTTERFLY30 to get 30% off both of these products, just because you guys are my podcast family, and I feel like you guys truly are in this space of kind of mindfulness and affirmations and all that sort of stuff. Like, if you guys listen to the podcast, you guys are the ones that like truly actually care about this stuff and believe in it. So again, you guys can use the discount code BUTTERFLY30 to save 30% off for this week only. Thank you guys so much. If you guys choose to check them out or purchase them and just support me, I really hope you love them and that they really are helpful on your healing journey. So moving into this episode, I wanted to share with you guys 8 life lessons that I've learned from my fitness journey. And these are specifically life lessons, right? I could do another one where it's like things I've learned from my fitness journey about actual fitness, but these are all like overarching life lessons, because I always say this, and like I feel like I don't know if other people feel me on this, but like I feel like being into fitness and weightlifting has taught me so many overall life lessons. Like truly, especially the older I get and the more I think about things, I'm like, see, that like that's a really good lesson that I learned from lifting, or like, see, like this totally correlates to, you know, my lifestyle with lifting, like all this sort of stuff. And so I personally just think it's really interesting, because so many people just feel like the fitness journey is something about to change the way you look or to get healthier physically, all this sort of stuff, which is all fine and dandy. But I just truly do feel like there is a bigger picture even when it comes to lifting weights in the gym. And I think this also just shows, you know, how much a healthy lifestyle and being in the gym, or no matter what your whatever, you know, your preferred exercise form is, like how impactful it truly can be, and how much on the bigger scale that it could be really impactful. So first thing, and this was something I learned the hard way after a long time of the uni trying to teach me this. First thing, and I think this was a quote somewhere that I saw like 3 years ago, and it says, you can't hate yourself into a version that you love. And I'm going to say it again. We're starting off strong with this episode, because this one like borderline gives me chills / makes me emotional, but it's so true. You can't hate yourself into a version that you love. And I really want you guys to digest that and let that sink in. And this, for me, just speaking on my journey, of course, like I really struggled with this back in 2019, when I was really the most self-conscious I'd ever been, the most disconnected from myself, my body, my identity, my character I'd ever been. I mean, because I was placing all my worth and identity in the way that I looked, but nevertheless, that's where I was basically doing the opposite of what that quote said. I was trying to hate myself into a version that I loved, and it just was not working. I tried and tried for like a year and a half, and I got nowhere. Why? Because I was trying to hate myself into a version that I love. And, you know, when that finally switched for me is when I finally started to make changes out of a place of truly self-love, which I was able to cultivate through starting to practice mindful practices of journaling, affirmations, practicing gratitude, dabbling in meditation for the first time. I'm telling you, that is what allowed me to see myself in this life from just a better bird's eye view, and helped remind me of what like truly matters. And that's where I truly cultivated self-love. And that's when the switch kind of flipped for me to say, you know, I need to start, you know, like I'm doing these things not because I want to look a certain way or for a certain outcome or because I'm not worthy now. I'm making these lifestyle changes because I deserve to live the best life possible. I deserve to have the best self-care possible, because the fact of the matter is, when you love something or someone, you want to take care of it. Think about the last time you, like, I'm not really into it, but like, let's say you're someone who loves purses. I'm sure when you bought a purse, you did everything you could, like your favorite purse, you did everything you could to keep it clean, to make sure it didn't get dirty, to make sure it didn't get squashed, all that sort of stuff. Same thing with your people in your family or significant others or your best friends. Like when you love someone, you want to take care of them. And so I wholeheartedly believe that that carries over to the relationship with yourself. And so when you truly love yourself, you want to take care of yourself, which goes back to you incorporating true healthy practices that help you be your healthiest and become your best self. And with that, inevitably is going to come with a body that you love as well, is going to come with a workout routine that you love as well, is going to come with feeling your best as well, which is what is the most important. So that's something that really clicked for me. And ever since then, just that overall life lesson, like even now when I'm wanting to implement new habits or I have different goals, I really, really, really am mindful of my intention and my why. Because I think another way that this can show up is, like in your career, right? So if you're like wanting to get a promotion or work with a certain someone or make a certain amount of money, it's really important to make sure that you're not chasing these things out of a place of when I get there, I'll be worthy, or I feel like a failure right now. I hate where I am right now. I feel so unworthy and like a failure. I need to get to these 4 external accomplishments to then feel like someone who's worthy and who's enough. Like I'm telling you, that's when you're just in such a lower vibrational frequency that is never going to attract those higher frequencies of abundance that you want to be living. And so now, I really do my best to try to make sure I'm, this is always a work in progress. Like I hope you guys know this, the podcasts that I make for you guys, they're always things. The reason why I'm passionate about speaking about them is because they're things that I'm always constantly working towards as well. So I really try to do my best to remind myself of my why and make sure that I know that I'm worthy now, I'm deserving now. And because I love myself so much, I'm going to try to strive for something even higher to see even more what I'm capable of, because I love myself and I deserve the best quality of life that I can attain for myself. And so just looking at it as becoming someone I love because I love myself has been something that has been super freeing and has really allowed me to kind of check my intention with things and make sure that I'm showing up in the best way possible. And it has made the process of that journey of attainment towards whatever your goal is, whether that's physique goals, career goals, romantic goals, home goals, whatever the case may be, it's made that journey so much more enjoyable and a journey out of love that helps me stick with it over the long haul. Second life lesson, which I think is a major one that I think about often, and that is that the 1% every day does add up. And I think this is something that I would see like in my everyday life when people are like, oh, what's it matter if I do this today? Like, I'll just do it tomorrow. If there's a lifestyle that teaches you that 1% every day does matter, is the world of bodybuilding. Now, I don't know if everyone's going to be relating to this because I haven't done like a show of bodybuilding, obviously, but I've gone through phases of basically living like a bodybuilder. That's kind of a story for a different day, but just it really did teach me that, yes, that 1% does matter. Like, yeah, it does matter if you show up today as opposed to you skipping today and just showing up tomorrow, because you showing up today and tomorrow and the next day after that, now you have 3 points towards the cookie jar as opposed to just 1 or 2. And, it really does just add up every day. Like another way that I thought about it that really helped me visualize it was like, it doesn't matter. There's also a quote, side note, that I'm thinking of. Direction is much more important than speed. It's like the same thing. That 1% every day is you turning the tires of a car, right? Even if it's only 1%, if you're doing that every day, eventually that all is going to accumulate and compound on each other and accumulate, and it's going to get you to where you want to be, because at the end of the day, it's moving the car. It may seem slow, but even if you can just give your 100%, which is just 1% of that big picture, it's going to be enough to help you move to accomplish your goal one day. Because when you have the mindset that it doesn't matter and that like it doesn't get you any further, you're so much more prone to skip out, and cut those corners and say, it doesn't matter. Like, I'll just do it tomorrow. It doesn't really matter if I'll do the cardio. Because by the time you're finished with that mindset, if you're truly living from that mindset, maybe in a month span, you missed, 5-6 cardio sessions out of the month or whatever the case may be. Like, overall, it adds up and it does make a difference, even if it doesn't really feel like it. And I think it's an answer that not everyone wants to hear, because they kind of want the validation to kind of sit this one out. And I'm not speaking about, not listening to your body or taking rest when you need to. Like, obviously, let's keep this in context, right? But I'm just saying, truly showing up and doing what you can to gather that 1% every single day, even when you don't always feel like it, right? And just sticking to your program and your protocol, no matter what it is in life, and just simply showing up, that is what's going to get you so much farther. And it really does cover great lengths, even though it doesn't always feel like it, because it doesn't feel like it, because that day you're like, what does it really matter if I'm doing the last 10 minutes of cardio? But over the long haul of a month, 6 months, a year, if you were to always skip that last 5 minutes of cardio, think about how much that 5 minutes of cardio adds up by the end of the year, and how many minutes of cardio you cut corners on out of your whole entire protocol. Or how many times, if you have a goal to work, until an extra hour for the day, but you just decided, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. Think about how many more hours of work you could have put in if you didn't skip out that 1 hour every single day for the year. Like, I know that's dramatic, but just to kind of allow you guys to really see it. And I just want you guys to truly comprehend and grasp the fact that it really does matter. And acknowledging that, I feel like, has helped me become so much more successful in multiple areas of my life. And keeping that mindset has allowed me to really leave no stone left unturned. Okay, number 3. This is another big one. These are great. I really love this. There is no end destination. Okay, there's no end goal with your dream body. There's no end goal with training. There's no end goal with, like, when you hit this certain amount of money that you make a year, that's it. Life in and of itself is an ongoing journey. It is a forever going journey. It does not end, right? There's another hugely famous quote that my dad has drilled in my head ever since I was freaking like 10 years old. And it says, success is a journey, not a destination. And that, like, I'm going to say it again. Success is a journey, not a destination. And that just goes with everything in life, right? I think we get so caught up, especially with the world of weight training. It makes us think that, because that's also a huge part of the culture, right? Train so that you can lose X amount of weight to be, have this body by this vacation, or eat like this so that by the time you have your wedding, you'll look like this, or do this so that you can be healthy by XYZ, or whatever the case may be. I just feel like there's always time limits around everything within fitness, and that, it makes sense, right? You want to be working towards a goal. I'm not saying that goals are bad. I'm just saying that when you get to your goal, there is always another goal that's going to come up. And if not, that is when you should question, I guess. That is when you should get worried, I want to say, for lack of a better term, like, because you should always be, always be shifting your goals and what you're striving for, because life is always shifting, right? Everything is always subjective. Things are always constantly changing. You're a different person that you are now than you were a year ago. Like, the goals that I had a year ago are so much more different than the goals that I have right now. And that's supposed to be that way. That's healthy. That's what gives me purpose and meaning and helps me feel like I have something to work towards. Like, it truly gives me a purpose. And I feel like that's something else I really believe in. Like, for people who, struggle with lack of purpose and everything in that avenue, like, it's so important to have goals, whether they're on a big scale of life or personal goals, because they do give you a purpose when you wake up in the morning, which is so powerful towards fulfillment, happiness, joy, and feeling like you have a sense of belonging and a reason for being here. And I'm not saying they have to be everything, right? So much to say about finding peace and joy just in stillness and just in being, right? That's the foundation of everything. But while we're living this human experience, I think it does do a lot to have a goal that you're working towards. And so that's something that was a huge wake-up call for me when I first started. I felt, my thing was I was always stick thin, and so I wanted to have curves. And so I felt, when I have this body, I'll be attractive, I'll be enough, boys will want me, I'll be someone who's worthy, all of these things. Like, then I'll feel happy, I'll feel confident with myself. And I felt that, I'm at point A, and once I get to point B, then I will have crossed that finish line and I'll have gotten my body, the goal body, and that's that. That was so far from the truth, because let me tell you something. It's no secret that fitness can turn toxic very quickly. And when you operate with that mindset, like I just said previously, it's even more prone and likely to become toxic. And the thing is like, this journey of fitness isn't a linear journey, right? No journey is really linear. So there's going to be ups and downs. And when you think that you're striving for this perfect A to B path to this end goal, this end destination, it's just not always realistic. And it's kind of like, in my experience, I felt like my goals were always like $1 on the end of a fishing pole, or $1 on the end of a string. Like, it's always moving, and it's not this fixed point that you want it to be. And like, that's okay. And I've learned to fall in love with that and understand like that is the beauty of it all, because the point of this is to be falling in love with the journey of it and not be so fixated on this end destination, because like I said, it truly doesn't exist. Same thing with your training, right? Like so many people are like, oh, I'm going to train for this goal, so I'm going to be training for the next 3 months. Like, it's so much more beyond that. And like, this truly is an overall lifestyle that I'm going to be living for the rest of my life. And like, reminding myself of that takes off so much pressure for things and like helps me see things in a better perspective and understand that I don't need to be perfect every single phase of my fitness journey. I don't need to be so hard on myself every single phase of my fitness journey. I don't need to be so painstakingly disciplined every single part of my fitness journey. Like, there are times where, because I think now, like when I look back at times of my fitness journey where I was unhappy, I'm like, that really was like such a small a point of time. Like, that seems like such a small portion of my life. And like, I still am only 23 years old. Like, imagine how much of a speck that's going to feel in my journey when I'm 40, 50, 60, 70. And so that has helped bring me more like peace, I guess, and comfort in this whole weightlifting thing, which has carried over to how I see life like as a whole. Like, we think that when we reach this career goal, we'll be worthy, we'll be enough, we'll be happy, we'll be able to be seen with respect. When we do this accomplishment, XYZ, then we'll feel like enough and we quote unquote made it. That's something I've been really trying to be mindful of not saying like, oh, then I'll feel like I've made it, because when do you actually feel like you made it? Like, what does that even mean to make it? You know what I mean? Like, I just truly feel like that it doesn't exist. And that's what fitness has taught me. Like, this whole entire life in the grand scheme of things is truly just a journey. It is always changing. It's always moving. It's always in a flow. It never stops. And that's just the very nature of life itself. So that's another thing. Fitness really taught me that life is just an ongoing journey. There is no end destination, no end goal. It's about falling in love with the process as opposed to doing something as a means to an end, simply just to acquire some sort of outcome to then make you feel a certain way with external validation. It's all about the internal process of what you're putting in, how much you're enjoying it, what your impact is, how passionate you are, and just really truly flowing through this ongoing journey of life. Number 4. Yep, 4. Good things take time. You need to put in the thorough work. And this was one of my favorite things about fitness, and especially ever since the beginning, because, okay, in case it hasn't ever been clear, like, beginning of my fitness journey, that's when I was psycho. Like, I was so disciplined with everything, which is fine. Like, I think another story for a different day. Maybe I should do a whole other podcast about discipline, but like, I honestly thought of this analogy the other day that like, when it's like when people talk about balance, they like want you to have everything balanced out perfectly, like to start. I don't really believe that. Like, I think it takes living out of balance to find balance. It's like throwing them in the middle of this big field, and you're like, okay, I want you to go find the very middle point of this field. How are you going to do that if you don't need to walk to the outside borders to find where the edges are and where the borders are? And that's kind of what I feel like when it comes to finding balance in life and like in your fitness routine. Like, it took me walking to the edges of whatever that huge field was to find the edges, to know where I need to go from there to find the middle balance, the middle ground. And so in the beginning of my fitness journey, I wasn't balanced. I was fully on one side of the spectrum. And I think that taught me a ton of discipline. I'm honestly proud of what I was capable of in that point of time. It built a lot of my character, a lot of my integrity, a lot of my work ethic. And so I loved that from the very beginning, because I would work so hard. I would see other people because another thing, people like to just say that they're, doing fitness without like actually, well, who really knows how much work that they're actually putting in? Like, they're only the only people that will ever truly know. But what I really loved is that you really can tell how much work someone is putting in, because you can't cut corners in fitness, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I love that aspect about fitness. Like, the only way to get results in the gym is simply by putting in your time. Someone who's been working out, I guess it depends on how efficient you've been with your training and your nutrition and your goals. But for the most part, if you were taking two people who have quote unquote been putting in the same work ethic, someone who's been at it for 5 years is going to look very different than someone who's been doing it for 1 year. And I just love that you can't fake the results, because you can't buy any time. Like, it's truly just simply the work that you put in. That's it. You can't cut corners without just putting in the thorough work, unless you're genetically gifted, I guess. But I just really loved that aspect of about fitness and training and weightlifting. And it just taught me overall on the big scale with life that, like, you can't cut corners in life. You need to put in the thorough work, and it's going to take time. You need to have patience, and you need to show up every day. But that's what's going to allow you to get that result that you want, because that work that you're putting in day after day after day, that takes time and patience, right? All of that is going to accumulate and compound into something beautiful. And then you're going to actually have results to show for the work that you've been putting in silence. So that's another thing that I really love and a big life lesson. Next one. This is one that I want to do a whole other episode on in its entirety. And this was something that I remember, this quote that actually, like, my 8th grade basketball coach said this. Shout out Mr. Evans. And it just was kind of I always think about it, and it was reiterated to me even more so in my fitness journey. And the quote is, "Character is what you do when no one is watching." Character is what you do when no one is watching. I guess I really throw out a lot of quotes during these podcast episodes, but this one, super, super, super relevant and apparent in fitness journeys, because same thing, like, there is no one holding your hand and telling you to get to the gym, right? No one is going to actually know if you went to all your gym sessions this week. No one's going to truly know if you drank your whole gallon of water that day. No one's going to be there to tell you to get in bed to make sure you get 8 hours of sleep that night. Like, it's up to you to be disciplined, to get to bed early, to drink your water, to get to the gym, all of that sort of stuff. And so it's really just up to you to be disciplined enough to put in that effort. And, like, no one sees, for the most part, no one sees those little actions and that effort that you put in every single day to, check off those little boxes, which seem like small things, but those little actions are the things that add up, like I've been saying, to turn into something greater and to actually be that vehicle towards, progress and achieving your goals and things like that. And if you rely so much on external validation, or, doing things only when people are there to, validate the fact that you did them, like, you aren't going to get very far in life if you solely rely on that. And because I feel like, I guess I'm speaking about the same overlying principle throughout this whole entire episode, that, like, it's truly what you're doing. It's the little things that you do every single day over and over and over again that seem so mundane that get you to where you want to be. Like, truly, that's just, I think that's kind of the road to success looks like at its most foundational core. And so just that concept in weight training and just in the gym, that, like, you have to do things and you have to be the one to hold yourself accountable and show up even though no one else is seeing it, right? Like, another example, like, I didn't want to do cardio the other day. I really didn't want to. I just was doing an incline walk on the treadmill, but still, like, I just really didn't want to do it. It was like a Friday evening, and I just was like, I don't want to do this. And literally no one else was in the cardio room. Like, no one was there. And I don't lie, we all kind of get a little bit of validation from everyone being there, like, a little bit. Okay, like, at least for me, when I really don't want to do it, I'm like, okay, at least there's other people in here, whatever the case may be. And I was like, damn, I'm alone. No one's ever, I guess now I'm saying it on the podcast, but I didn't know I was going to say this on the podcast, but, like, no one would have ever known that I stuck there and did that for 30 minutes, right? And I could have just said, whatever, F it. But I knew that what my goals are and how I wanted to take care of my body, like, I needed to show up, even though I'm not going to go tell someone that I did it to receive their external validation, or I'm not going to do it because someone's there holding me accountable. Like, I'm doing it because I know it's what's best for me and is in alignment with my goals. And that, I just feel like, looking back now, is like such a perfect example of that quote of, like, character is what you do when no one is watching. And just truly embodying that on the big scale, no matter what goal you're working towards in life, or even how you're acting. Like, it doesn't need to be some goal to attain something. Like, even the way you treat people, right? How you act morally when someone's there. Like, are you that sketchy person that's, like, looking in someone's wallet? Or are you that sketchy person that's, like, taking something? Or I don't even know. But you know what I'm getting at. Like, are you still morally there even when no one's there to hold you accountable? Like, all of those things are really important questions. And that's something that's really, really important to me. Like, that is a value that I really, that's a value that I really value. A character trait that I really value is good character, I guess, or, like, good morals. Like, being the person that you want to be, and being the best person you can be without the validation or acknowledgement for anyone else. That is such a powerful state. And I respect that state so much. And I just don't know how else to say it. I feel like I'm speaking in a circle, but like the people who truly are the best they can be, whether someone is watching or not, whether someone knows or not, it's like the same thing. It's like when you do something kind for someone, are you that person that like needs to go tell them that you did it and make sure that they know? Or are you just going to do it just out of the goodness of your heart and because they deserve it and it doesn't really matter who did it? Like that, I just feel like speaks volumes, and that's just a trait that I really, really value. I feel like I took that in a few different directions, but I think you get what I'm saying. Next one, you are tougher than you think. This one I love. This one is obviously more like physical in the terms of fitness, because there are times when I think I'm literally on my last freaking leg, literally, and I somehow still am able to push further because of just the mental toughness of my mind and in my body. Like even when it gets hard, you can keep going. And I love that just firsthand example when it comes to fitness of any sort of kind, whether you're running or whatever, or even you're doing Pilates and the burn gets really bad and you want to give up, but you just simply keep going. Like that is such an amazing life lesson just to teach you toughness, perseverance, and persistence, which are invaluable lessons and I think are super important when it comes to building someone who's strong and who's fearless and who's capable and who can show up even when it freaking gets hard, because that's the cold hard truth that like all the good things in life, there's also another quote, I forget what it says exactly, but like all good things lie on the other side of fear and like of difficulty and of trial, right? Like I feel like it's something that the universe does. It's like they give you trials and tribulations to see if you're ready and worthy to level up in that way. And like if you're able to, build up that mental toughness and the persistence and perseverance, you are going to be able to achieve so much more in your life and just be an even stronger, more capable person because you know what it's like to be able to push through. And there's just so many things in life that you need to push through in order to actually level up. Like that's the thing. It's not supposed to be easy to level up. Like that is the whole point. I feel like that's like a very self-explanatory thing. Like whatever feels easy, like it feels easy because it's still in your same lane. Like if you want to jump up to the next step of the ladder, obviously you're going to need to take more power, more effort, more skill, more whatever to jump up to that step in order to get to that step, or else it would be still in your same lane that you're already in, the same level that you're already at. Like I just feel like that's a very self-explanatory thing when you truly think about it. So really remembering that you're tougher and stronger than you think has really helped me understand that I'm capable of more than I think and that I can do hard things no matter what way they manifest in life. And the last, number 8 life lesson thing that I have learned throughout my fitness journey, that my fitness journey has taught me, is that you need to want something for you in order to stay consistent with it over the long haul. I don't know if everyone's going to agree with me on this, but this is something I truly, really believe. If you want to truly be consistent with something and attain a certain goal, which takes you showing up every day for a long period of time, I'm talking like a long-term goal that you need to dedicate yourself to, you have to want it for you. Your why needs to be so crystal clear that it is just constantly in the front of your mind. Because I just find when people work out to impress someone or to impress their significant other or to get acceptance from their family or to whatever the case may be, or get a certain job to impress someone or to make their family proud, it always has a shelf life. It always expires. It always dulls, right? It always gets old. And you just don't want to do it anymore. You don't have the spark to do it anymore because it didn't come from an internal motivational standpoint. It was external motivation where we want that intrinsic motivation. And I just think I think intrinsic motivation is the most powerful type that there is. Of course, motivation is always fleeting. We know that that's a principle of that. But if we had to choose any sort of motivation that's going to help get you there, I'm going to choose intrinsic motivation every single solitary day, because there's just something to be said about wanting something truly for you and internally. Like you need to want it, not do it just because someone else that you really love and care about wants it for you. If it's not your dream, you're not going to have any drive to stick with it on the long haul. So I just think that's something that's really, really important, because I guess how my fitness journey taught me that was like there was more, I want to say like societal standards always made me feel like I needed to look a certain way, even though if it wasn't truly what I wanted. And like it always led me to a dead end and feeling so unfulfilled, feeling like weightlifting was a chore, and I never wanted to stick with it in that direction. And so switching gears into, working towards goals that I truly wanted for me, that's what really made fitness so much more enjoyable for me and allowed me to really stick with it on the long haul and feel a sense of fulfillment and purpose from it. So, quick little summary of the 8 life lessons I learned from my fitness journey. Number 1, you can't hate yourself into a version that you love. Say that to yourself when you wake up. I love that one. Number 2, the 1% every day does actually add up. 3, there is no end destination. 4, good things take time and you need to put in the thorough work. 5, character is what you do when no one is watching. 6, oh my gosh, I'm just realizing there's only 7, not 8. My bad, guys. All the love. I guess I miscounted. Okay, 6, you are tougher than you think. And lastly, 7, you need to want something for you in order to stay consistent with it over the long haul. So for the affirmation for today, I am learning new life lessons and carrying the newfound wisdom with me. I am learning new life lessons and carry the newfound wisdom with me. Woo! That was such a great little reflective episode. That just made me even more grateful to fitness. Honestly, number 8. No, I'm kidding. But I just want to say, truly, I feel like sometimes we get so wrapped up in the minutia details about fitness and all these little details when so much more is being taught to us through, practicing self-care and exercise and eating well and just treating our body well. There's so much more to be said about that than just the way that you look, what your pant size is, how you look in a photo, all this sort of stuff. There really is more to it if you can just zoom out and really look at the bigger picture and take out these bigger life lessons that are being presented in front of you. And it's just really powerful stuff. Props to my freaking fitness journey. Even though parts of it sucked and were really hard and were really not good times in my life, I learned so many life lessons because of it, which extends so much further than just fitness in the gym. So I love that. This is so heartwarming. Also, don't forget, if you do want to check out those digital products, I'll have that linked in my Stan store, which is in the show notes. Again, there is 2 products, the Affirmations printout for you to download it, print it out, or whatever you want to do. And then the iPhone wallpapers, which is also a 4-pack, which now I'm realizing I don't know if I ever said that, but maybe that was clear. But a 4-pack of iPhone wallpapers if you would like to purchase those as well. And just a way for you guys to bring the Livfiit brand with you throughout your days and support me and all of that good stuff. So thank you guys so much for watching or listening. I hope you guys really enjoyed this podcast episode. It's a little bit different, but I genuinely enjoyed it. So I love you guys so much. I really hope you guys have an amazing week. I'm sending you so much love, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.